This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, now I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing, that Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing, that Super Bowl ring. Yeah. We in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Wild Card Weekend in the National Football League. Our final game of Wild Card Weekend, and what a dandy it was. What else did you expect? NFL saving the best for last. And I talked about this in the preview. This was going to be the best game of the weekend. And I begged and I pleaded with the NFL. Please don't suspend Ndamukong Suh for this game. Now, he deserved it. What he did was ignorant. It was unnecessary. It was uncalled for. But I said, if you can find it in your heart to just please let him off the hook with a slap on the wrist this time, I greatly appreciate it, because this game had the potential to be a barn burner. You take him out of the mix, and even though he didn't play his best football late in the season, he's still an impact player, and the Cowboys want to run the football, and if you take him out of the lineup, that's exactly what they're going to do. I said, just let the guy play, okay? Come on, let bygones be bygones. And they heard my plea. I can't believe it. They let him play. So I was really surprised. Normally, and of course, it always helps when someone else other than good old Roger Goodell hears your appeal. So all in all, I got what I wanted, and this was setting up to be one of the best 3-6 matchups in recent memory. Cowboys' strength running the football, led the league in rushing, had the league's leading rusher in DeMarco Murray with over 1,800 yards. Meanwhile, you're going up against the stingiest rush defense in the league in the Detroit Lions, arguably one of the best defenses in the entire league, coming into the game as the second-rated overall defense in the league. This team has gotten it done the entire season, and so something had to give in this game. To me, it wasn't about the Cowboys' strength or the Lions' strength. It was about the secondary parts. Whose offense was going to be able to generate the most points? And I really was looking at the Lions' offense. What are you going to do, okay? If your defense is able to cancel out the Cowboys' offense, can you do enough to win this game? I looked at the Cowboys' defense and said, hey, this Detroit Lions team hasn't done the best job in the world of scoring this year. Are you going to hold them down, or are you going to allow them to have a field day? Who's going to make the most plays with the secondary units? That being the Cowboys defense and the Detroit Lions offense. We know about the Lions defense. We know about the Cowboys offense. Whose secondary unit? And throw special teams in there if you like. Whose team was going to make that play that could change this game and maybe tilt the balance of the scales in the favor of their football teams. Whose unit was going to step up? Whose secondary unit? And so that's what I wanted to see in this game. And so your 6th seed in the NFC conference, the Detroit Lions, taking on your 3 seed, heavily favored Dallas Cowboys in this game. Off to Jerry's World we go. After the Cowboys start 3 and out, the Lions strike quickly with a 51-yard Golden Tate touchdown. And for all of that sidebar drama that I talked about, remember I talked about in the preview that Barry Church and his whole I want to get back payback for the Sean Lee hit 2 years ago. Barry Church took a nosedive on this touchdown. He was eating, you know those little black pellets that come out of the turf? When you have that field turf stuff, those little black, he was eating those black pellets as Golden Tate ran by him. He face planted as Golden Tate took off and scored on the 51-yard touchdown. Barry Church is a joke. What are you talking about? You're going to get him back. You couldn't even catch him. 7-0 Lions. Great play by Matthew Stafford to avoid the rush, step up in the pocket, and deliver a dart. I've been very hypercritical even of Matthew Stafford of late because I feel like for this Lions team to take the next step, he's got to play better, and I just don't know if it's in him or not. They gave us, what a damaging stat this is. In his career, against winning teams on the road, going into this Dallas game, he was 0-17. Ouch! Ouch! Yikes! I didn't even know that. Now, if you're a Lions fan, maybe you know that. I had no clue it was that bad. I had no clue it was that bad. Yikes! I mean, it's one thing to beat up on the bottom feeders. It's one thing to beat good teams at home. But in this league, you got to be able to win on the road against good teams. And he hasn't done that in his career. I mean, unbelievable. So, this is as good a time as any to break that streak. And so, off to a great start. 7-0. Lions on the road. Quiets the crowd. They were hyped early in this game. Okay, let's see what you got. With the assistance of a Dakota Watson 4th and 4 running into the kicker penalty. So, first of all, Cowboys had a bad punt, but the shank actually stays in bounds and trickles all the way down to the half-yard line. Incredible kick by their punter. So they catch a break there. Then they're able to force a punt 3 and out. Lions punting from their own end zone. Punter Sam Martin kicks the football and isn't allowed to land with his plant foot. And Dakota Watson rolls into him, running into the kicker. 5-yard penalty. Well, it was 4th and 4, so you get a first down. Lions proceed to drive 14 plays, 99.5 yards, over 7 minutes of the first quarter clock in an impressive display of offensive efficiency. They move it down the field, and Reginald Bush puts together a picturesque and aesthetically pleasing cutback run as only Reginald Bush could. And this is one of those stop, jump, cut to the side twice in the same run. Leaves Orlando Scandrick looking for Reginald Bush. Where did he go? Which way did he go? And leaves him right in his wake and in his dust. Goes to the outside, gets a wonderful block from the aforementioned Golden Tate. And gets into another block too that they really didn't talk about by Fuller to spring him as well. Gets him into the end zone. It's 14-0. The question I have, and I think Joe Buck asked the same question, where has this Lions offense been all season long? And what I said to myself at that moment, no, not the Lions are going to win this game. No, not here we go again. Cowboys are going to choke. I said, there's no way in hell that the Detroit Lions sustain this level of offense for the remainder of the game. I've watched this team all season long. I've watched all 16 games prior to this one. There is no way that Matthew Stafford and this Lions offense remains this efficient offensively for the remainder of the game. And guess what? I was right. They did not score another touchdown the remainder of the game. But, tell you what, you can't start much hotter than that. It's now 14-0. Lions up in the first quarter, and the Cowboys don't know what just hit them. It's quiet in Jer's world, and right now, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're probably saying, what the hell is going on out there? And you should be. Now look, I will say this. We know the Cowboys defense isn't the greatest, and they've been hiding behind that strong Cowboys offense the entire season. We talk about the Cowboys and their ability to run the football, but nobody talks about that time of possession that they dominate each and every single week behind that offense and behind that rushing attack and behind their ability to sustain offense and keep that defense that's a liability off the field. So right now they're being tested. That 14-play, 99.5-yard drive over 7 minutes of the clock was just a little taste of what can happen to this Cowboys defense if the offense isn't keeping them off the field with first downs and controlling the clock with that ball control offense. So this is something moving forward. I want you to take this, and not for this particular game, but make a mental note, and I want you to stick that mental note in your back pocket, all right? Because that's something that down the line in this postseason, we may see again, and you may be able to reach in your pocket and say, oh, I remember that from the Detroit Lions game. You can remember that your man Louie T told you that that's something to keep an eye on moving forward. But it's 14-0 as we head to the second quarter. Unbelievable start for the Lions. But in my mind, I'm saying you can't keep up that blistering pace. That's not who you are. But the thing I was saying is, hey, with the defense that you play, if you could find a way to muster one more touchdown, hey, look, you already got 2 in the first quarter. I'm just asking for one more touchdown at some point in this game. With the defense that you play, you may have a shot here, okay? Desperate for any kind of spark, Tony Romo connects with T. Will for a 76-yard touchdown. If there was ever a time the Cowboys needed a huge play made by somebody, anybody, I don't give a damn who it is, it was right now. They needed something to happen good for them. They were struggling. And they caught a break because the defender on the play actually falls down and slips in the slot, and then he's able to get a full head of steam as Terrence Williams. Nobody is able to cut him off. James Ahidebo, the safety, actually takes a bad angle, and so he's not able to catch him. And then everybody else on the play just didn't have enough speed to catch up with Terrence Williams, who actually ran out of gas at the end of the play, dives in the end zone, and scores a touchdown. 76 yards, that's a long way to run. It's 14-7. And what I said to myself is, damn, for everything that you've done in this first quarter, and you know what, let me stop right here before I forget to mention this. What I said after the start, because the thing about this start, and it wasn't the actual offense of the Lions that had put up 14 points and looked so crisp offensively that surprised me the most. It was this defense of the Lions, and I shouldn't be surprised. I just talked about them being a strength of this team, but I know them as a team that can get a little bit of pressure, can stop the run, but they were getting a lot of pressure. I mean, they were hitting home. Like, they were hitting the tilt button on Tony Romo. They were, even on passes where he was getting the ball out of his hands, he was getting smashed. I mean, Ezekiel Ziggy Ansah was lighting up Tony Romo. Tahir Whitehead got a clear shot on him. Sue hit him a couple of times early in this game. So did Jones. I mean, they were getting to Romo on a consistent basis. DeAndre Levy got in, got free on a sack. I mean, man, I'm telling you what, Stone Cold T. Austin was the man early in this game. And that's why you're hearing Terrell Austin's name circulating around league circles as a man that could potentially get himself a head coaching job. When you do things like that, when you put pressure on a team and on a quarterback that has seen limited pressure all season long, That, my friend, gets you noticed around the league. And so, this performance early on was impressive. But that 76-yard touchdown by Terrence Williams, huge in the grand scheme of the game, because I said to myself, for as much as you dominated Detroit, you're up by 7 at halftime. Now, Cowboys scored quickly. There's enough time to go down and get a field goal. And if you're feeling froggy, you can get a touchdown. Make it 21-7, get your 14-point lead back. And that's what the Lions looked like they were trying to do. They move it all the way down the field. And the Lions wrestled back the momentum with a late 39-yard field goal. Stafford was living dangerous on the play before, though. Almost throws an interception to the Cowboys linebacker, who dropped back into zone coverage. And he's got a pretty good set of hands in Bruce Carter, who leads the team in interceptions as we speak. So, I tell you what, you got away with one there. And if he wasn't there, Calvin Johnson was open behind him in that zone coverage. But, got away with one, 17-7 at the halftime break. So I feel good. And the Lions get the football after the half. That's what I'm talking about. With that momentum of the field goal that barely went inside the uprights, get the football out there, you could stretch this lead right back on out and really put your foot to the throats of the Cowboys after the halftime break. So we go to the third quarter. Very first play from scrimmage. Unbelievable. Ball is batted into the air on a Matthew Stafford offering, picked off by Kyle Wilber, and gives the Cowboys not only great field position, but all the momentum they could ask for in the world. And what does the Detroit Lions defense do? Step up. That's what they do, step up, including a sack on third down by Ezekiel Ansah to force a dangerous Dan Bailey field goal. Well, we all know this is going in, right? It's dangerous Dan Bailey. He doesn't miss field goals, especially chippies. I mean, this has got to be a 41-yarder. Come on, Dan hits this in his sleep. Go ahead and give him the 3 points. Don't even make him kick it. Give him the 3 points. Let's go to the kickoff. But Dan misses. Dangerous Dan Bailey misses from 41. Uh-oh. Could it really be that the Cowboys are running out of magic? Look, I don't know about all of that stuff, but I do know that normally Dan Bailey is money from 41. That's an anomaly. So now, not only do you miss the opportunity to get a touchdown and cut it to a 3-point game, not only do you miss an opportunity to seize all of the momentum in the world in this game, but you miss an opportunity just to get some points on the scoreboard. Ouch! That's a triple whammy. Now the Lions get the football with some pretty good field position and move it down the field. 8 plays, 60 yards, turns into a 37 Matt Prater field goal. So instead of the Cowboys getting 3, the Lions take that 3 points and put it on the scoreboard and extend the lead out to 20-7. So at this point now, you're in the danger zone, Dallas, because I told Detroit one more touchdown and you probably would win this game. That's 1 point away from 21. With the way this defense has been playing, don't like your chances if you don't do something now. So, on 3rd and 10, Dez Bryant. Dez gets away, and to me, this is where the game changed. I actually was watching NFL, what is it called? I don't know. Whatever, NFL Network, when they wrap up the games. Let's call it, I don't know. I don't know what the name of the show is. But Deion Sanders and company are up there. Marshall Faulk, Rich Eisen. And Rich Eisen asked Deion Sanders, where did the game turn for the Lions? And I thought Deion just absolutely missed the boat. He said the game changed on 2 plays. And the first of which he mentioned was the interception after the half. No, game didn't change there. As a matter of fact, the Lions gained back all the momentum on that play, because after the Kyle Wilber interception, you're thinking the Dallas Cowboys are going to go in the end zone and cut it to a 3-point game. Instead, they get a sack, they stand up defensively, and they miss the field goal to the Cowboys, and they get a field goal of their own. So no, the game didn't change there, okay? The game changed. And the other play that he named was the pass interference non-call. We'll get to that later on. But the game changed on this play. 3rd and 10. Dez Bryant, Cowboys at midfield. They're dead offensively. If they don't pick up this 3rd down, not only is Detroit going to get the football back, but we're going to probably wind down the rest of the 3rd quarter, and the Lions have all of the momentum, up by 13 in this game. Tall order to ask Dallas to run off 14 unanswered in the final frame against a defense that's been stifling and stingy all game long. Instead, I heard them ask the question, why is DeAndre Levy in one-on-one coverage with Dez Bryant? Good question. That's a fair question to ask. But if he just makes the damn tackle, okay? And DeAndre Levy is a hell of a linebacker. I don't think he gets enough credit in this Lions defense. But if he just makes the damn tackle, we're not having this discussion about why he's in one-on-one. We would be praising Stone Cold T. Austin for just pitching a hell of a defensive gem against this high-powered Cowboys offense. But instead, DeAndre Levy whiffs on the tackle, and give credit where credit is due. Dez put a nice little stiffy on him. Hey, back up off me, man. You don't know me like that. And gets up the sideline for 43. That's what playmakers do, and they needed a play in the worst way at that time. So that was a big play in the ball game. But again, if they get a stop there, I think the Lions might walk away with a W here. But they don't. That to me, that's where the game changed. Because they won't have to punt. Fourth, because he was going to stop him for about a 3-yard. 4th and 7, you can't go for it. Not around midfield, you got to punt the football. So that would have been huge. Instead, 43 yards down to the 7-yard line. A sequence of plays takes place. You have a Jason Witten holding penalty that negates a DeMarco Murray 7-yard touchdown run. Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back, all the way to the 17-yard line. Then you get a Cole Beasley catch. Then you get a situation where Cowboys have the football 1st and goal from about the 3-yard line. They don't get in on 1st down. Okay, you say, all right, they don't get in on 2nd down. Then they try Jason Witten shovel pass. Scooby-Doo time. What the hell are you doing, man? You got DeMarco Murray, the league's leading rusher in the backfield. You gonna do a shovel pass to old man Witten? Are we getting cute here? Is that what we're doing? You know better than that, redhead Jesus. Do what you're supposed to do here. Hand the ball off to old reliable number 29. Stop being cute. I was once told by a very smart and influential man, don't be pretty, don't be cute, be good. Just be good down here. Do what's gotten you to the show. Hand it off to 29. And so, that's what they attempted to do on 3rd down. Except the Lions pretty much knew that was coming on 3rd down. So what did they say? All right, you know what? We're this close. We could kick a field goal. Who wants to kick a 19-yard field goal? That's the worst field goal ever. And in a game where we're down 13, I don't know if a field goal really helps us down 13 points. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for it. And they went off tackle to the left, which is the strong side of their line. And gosh almighty, it worked as DeMarco Murray is able to get into the end zone. Huge play for the Cowboys. We saw this Lions team do the exact same thing last week against the Packers and actually stop them on 4 straight downs. So this was no foregone conclusion that they were going to get in, but they do. It's now 20-14 at the end of the 3rd quarter. We've got ourselves a ball game, folks. And so Cowboys continue their strong 2nd half with a drive aided by penalties. One in particular by Tahir Whitehead, a personal foul penalty. And then you think to yourself, that's a tough one there. Gives them the football, pushes them up inside the red zone. But then Ndamukong Suh steps up and shows why he needed to play in this game, why he is a force. I don't think he's leaving Detroit either. But we'll see what happens with those negotiations in the offseason. He gets 2 consecutive sacks. Can we get a flag? I mean, this is why I have a problem with the officials being mixed. Yeah, you come from your group, you come from that other group. Don't put guys together who haven't been officials with each other the entire season Keep crews together. You want to put an all-star group together? Do that in the Super Bowl, I guess. I don't even think I like that there. Because I want guys that have continuity, that understand, yeah, I know Rich has got my back. He's watching the sidelines. I don't have to worry about it. Hey, if Rich makes a call, I know he makes that call in full confidence that he's doing the right thing and not having guys second guess each other. Well, with my crew, this is how we do it. With my crew, this is how I do it. No. Keep whole crews together, because I thought that the officiating around Wild Card Weekend was suspect at best. We saw some really bad calls in the Carolina game. I thought that there were some questionable calls in the Pittsburgh game, 1 or 2 there. But these calls in this game, yeah, I saw Ndamukong Suh held on at least 3 occasions, and Joe Buck actually made mention of one of them. He actually sacked Tony Romo on one of the plays, and I'm like, come on now. I mean, Zach Martin is getting his lunch handed to him. He's on the ground begging for Ndamukong Suh to not take his lunch money because he's already pushed him down and is about to get to Romo, and he's just grabbing at him and holding him. I'm like, come on, guys, really? I mean, I'm watching Jeremy Parnell, hands to the face on at least 2 or 3 occasions, nothing. I'm like, I mean, these are some blatant ones right in the official's face. But again, we don't cry about spilled milk here. That's not what we do. Make plays, and Ndamukong Suh, despite being held 2 sacks in a row, forces the Cowboys to have to settle for a field goal. That's what playmakers do. They make plays despite being held or despite the circumstances. Make plays. And so it's 20-17 now. Cowboys slowly trimming into the lead. With the Lions on the move, and this is the second play that Dion talked about, and to me, this is definitely a play worth talking about. Officials pick up the flag, and see, the Lions were slowly moving the football after a bad decision to come out of the end zone on a kickoff. It seemed like this kickoff had some serious Marquette King hang time on it. I mean, just ridiculous how long this kickoff stayed in the air. And he comes out of the end zone, and I'm like, God damn, those Cowboys, they're down there quick. And the Spillman guy had a hell of a game on special teams, tackles the return man for the Lions. And about the 5-yard line, I'm like, oh, God, no, not another possession starting inside the 10-yard line. But the Lions actually moved the football. Nice little screen to the running back out of the backfield, and you get a nice little completion to Calvin Johnson on 3rd down. Great throw by Stafford. Great timing by the 2. And you're thinking, man, the Lions are finally gaining some momentum because they haven't had any success offensively in the second half. And then the play happens. We're going to call it the play. 3rd and about 7. Let's call it 3rd and 7. Stafford throws the football to, or it might have been like 3rd and 1. Because it was a situation where you thought they could have run. They didn't run. They go play action fake. And one-on-one, rookie Anthony Hitchens out of Iowa is singled up on Brandon Pettigrew. Look, I was always taught if you don't look for the football and you're face guarding, yeah, face guarding, hey, whoo-hoo, not looking for the ball, face guarding, man, you're in the wrong. That's a flag. And you put your hands on the receiver. What is there to discuss? That's a flag, okay? That's a flag, not 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. So they throw the flag. Great, great. Everybody's done their job. It's fine. It's good. And I hear them announce the call that it's a flag. And then I hear the Dallas Cowboys crowd up in a frenzy, roaring and cheering. And I'm like, why are they cheering? They just called pass interference on Anthony Hitchens, the first down for the Lions. So immediately I start thinking in this brain of mine, something just went wrong. Something just was changed. Is there an offsetting penalty that I didn't know about? Was it a legal formation or a legal shift or something that they didn't announce and it's offsetters and they got to do it again? No, they picked up the flag. That's interesting. Why'd you do that? And they talked to the ex-head of officiating, Mike Pereira, who's in the box with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck for the playoffs. And he says, no, that's clearly pass interference. I don't know why they picked up the flag. These jointed groups of officials that you just pull together and put together, these hodgepodge groups, they're not getting the job done. I don't like this alignment with these officials put crews together, don't put individual officials together. But either way, bad call. Okay, you got the back judge saying it's pass interference. You get another guy coming in from some random angle. Hey, no flag. He overrules the back judge who arguably had maybe the worst view of it. But again, it was the right call. So, I don't know. You know what? At the end of the day, they pick up the flag. You got a chance to still win the game. You're up 3. Make some plays. Make a play. You know, get the job done. I'm not going to sit here again. We don't cry over spilt milk. We wipe it up and we move on. So you didn't get the call, but that's a bad call, or no call in this case. But either way, they have to punt the football. I thought it was the right decision on 4th and 1 to not go for it. Because again, Cowboys have been red hot in the second half offensively, despite the fact that they haven't taken the lead yet and have only found pay dirt once. And that was on 4th down. They've been moving the football virtually all second half. So to go for it from midfield, probably not the smartest thing to do. And you got to trust the defense, who has been outstanding up until this point. And so they tried to go hard count. It didn't work. They take the delay game. Yeah, right thing to do. Absolutely. Punt the football. Sam Martin. This is the second time we've seen special teams impact the game greatly. We know about the struggles of the Cardinals special teams in the first game of Wild Card Weekend. This was just god-awful on the part of Sam Martin. Just the wrong time to shake a punt. I mean, if that's the case, and again, hindsight is 20/20. If head coach Jim Caldwell would have known that that's what his punter was going to, he would have went for it on 4th down. What the hell, man? Seriously? I could have went for it if you're going to kick the damn ball 10 yards. Unbelievable. As a coach, that's got to be the most infuriating thing, because you wrestle back and forth with the decision. Should I go for it? Should I kick it? What should I do? And you make the right decision, and then your punter makes an ass out of you. Damn you, Sam Martin. Damn, punters. They got one job. If you're a holder, 2. If you're a kickoff specialist, maybe 3. Just do your one damn job. Yikes. So, that punt goes about 10 yards. Cowboys take over at about the 41-yard line. Yikes. And so, 11 plays later, and yes, it took 11 plays to go 59 yards, but that's the kind of defense the Lions were playing on this day. Cowboys do find pay dirt on a 3rd down. This was a penalty-laced drive for the Cowboys, as the Lions had 2 consecutive defensive penalties in key spots. A holding penalty on DeAndre Levy and another penalty to help assist the Cowboys to get in the end zone on a Terrence Williams 8-yard touchdown. T. Will huge with his 2nd touchdown grab of the day. With 2 minutes and 32 seconds left on the clock, the Dallas Cowboys have assumed the lead for the first time in the ball game at 24-20. Perfect time to take your first lead. And so that sets the stage for this wacky finish. Anthony Spencer gets pressure on Matthew Stafford, hits him, ball comes out. Cowboys recover with about 2 minutes and 12 seconds left. I'm thinking game's over. Even though the Lions have 2 timeouts left, this game is over. It's recovered by the young fella, DeMarcus Lawrence, and all he's got to do is fall down. All he's got to do on this play is fall down. But he tries to run for some inexplicable reason, and he gets hit, and he fumbles the football. And the Lions, Riley Reef, recovers the football, and so Lions have new life. And it would have been 3rd down had, the Lions just incompleted the pass, but instead they get a 1st down, first set of downs, 2-minute warning hits, and they put together a little bit of a drive. 9 plays later, the Lions are threatening the Cowboys, and they did a number of things. Screen pass to Theo Riddick, couple of nice completions, in the flats and whatnot. They're moving the football. And on 4th down and about 4, Matthew Stafford is sacked again, this time by the GOAT turned hero, DeMarcus Lawrence, as he atones for the mistake he made earlier in the possession to give the Lions life with the forced fumble, and the Cowboys recovered. Really, it was academic at that point. They didn't even need the recovery The game was over. That was 4th down. As the Dallas Cowboys win and survive. That's the name of the game in the postseason. Win or survive. And move on to the divisional round with a 24-20 win over the Detroit Lions. This has been the story of the Lions season. The inability of the offense and the defense to play well in unison with each other for a full 60-minute game. And I've talked about that all season long. I talked about that in the preview for this game, that I wanted to see Matthew Stafford and this offense turn it up. We know what we're getting out of the defense. This defense played well enough to win. They deserve to win this game. You would love to say, hey, 20 points is supposed to be enough. And on a normal week, it would be. But this is the playoffs. Everybody's good. There aren't any more Minnesota Vikings. There aren't any more Chicago Bears. There aren't any more Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No more Jacksonville Jaguars. Tennessee Titans. None of those teams exist anymore. No more Redskins. You have to score points in order to win. And if you look around Wild Card Weekend, nobody won with less than 24 points. Cowboys scored 24. Colts scored 26, I believe. Panthers scored 27. And the Ravens scored 30. Nobody scored with less than 24. You got to score points to win. And the offense started like gangbusters and faded late. No production in the second half. As a matter of fact, only 3 points for this Lions offense in the second half. And that came on the first possession after the turnover in the 3rd quarter. So they didn't do much of anything. And the defense held one of the most explosive and yet balanced offensive attacks to 24 points. Should have been enough to win. But because the offense didn't do enough, which is the problem in Detroit, they lose this game. Defense, they pitched a hell of a game. I feel like the defense pitched a one-hit shutout, but the defense had to be taken out in the 9th inning because they ran out of juice. They bring in the closer to send it to extra innings, and he gives up a home run in the 9th inning. You lose the game. Defense did all they could. Give some credit where credit is due. The Cowboys, they battled in this game, and I think this is why this team is different, why people feel different about this team. Because in past years, they lose this game. You know, you start the game off, you're down 14-0, you're down 20-7 in the 3rd quarter, and it's easy to hang your head and say, here we go again, same old Cowboys, Romo, this and that. It's easy to get down on this team and say, you know what, they're done, and it's easy for the players to say, here we go again. But they didn't do that. They fought, they hung around, they made the plays when they were necessary, and they won a football game. All my hats go off to the Dallas Cowboys. Huge win at home. Now you got to take this, learn from this performance, because if you play like this against Green Bay, I can assure you, they won't stop at 20. They'll score 30, they'll score 37, and you won't even come close. You won't see another defense like this. The Packers defense is nowhere near as good as the Lions defense. So the comfort of this game being over is that you can say, hey, we won't see another defense like that until we get to Seattle if we make it there. The problem now becomes we're about to see arguably the most explosive offense in the league next week in their building. Good luck. So, with that being said, Cowboys advance to the divisional round. Lions go home. And Matthew Stafford's total against winning teams on the road now goes to a morbidly bad 0-18. So, it's going to do it for me here in the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. And I want to end this on a somber note. I woke up this morning to the bad news, as much of you probably did as well, to the passing of ESPN anchor Stuart Scott. I mean, I was at a loss of words. I knew he had cancer. I knew he was battling just as Herculean and heroically as he could, but it never makes it any easier to find out that somebody's passed away, even though you know that it's inevitable. And I, like yourself, have allowed him into my home for over a decade, and me being an African American looking to break into the media journalism type of field, he was refreshing to watch. And the thing that I loved about Stuart Scott was that he brought a flavor, a different kind of energy to something that seemed so boring to me as a kid. You know, and he brought a different style to the game, and it made it appealing to people like myself. And he showed that, hey, look, this thing doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be the status quo. And he gave it that twist that made someone like myself say, hey, I can do that. I want to be something like that. You know, I want to do something similar to that. I want to have the same impact that he had. And he wasn't just an anchor on ESPN. This guy was larger than that. He was a larger than life figure. And I don't know him personally. Never got the chance to meet him. But from all accounts, he sounded like a hell of a guy. And my thoughts and prayers go out to his family, to his ESPN family, to his kids, his ex-wife, all of those affected by his loss. And I must say that it was a joy watching him do what it is he did for so long on the ESPN network. And that guy definitely was cooler than the other side of the pillow. Stuart Scott, rest in peace. See you guys next week.